What's going on YouTube? Landon Huffman here, back with another video. This is one of my most highly requested videos. Today we are going to go over the cost of racing a late model stock car here in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. Overall, the cost of racing in general at the local level, why it's so expensive, and what we're actually racing for, so cost versus purse. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about renting race cars as well and what that costs versus doing it on your own like we are. So a couple of different levels to this video. Thank you guys for clicking on it. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. If you're not familiar, this is a late model stock car. They're raced predominantly in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. It's kind of a regional thing. And then this is a pro late model, which is an offset straight rail car. Also could be a super late model depending on what motor is in it. Those race up north, out west, down south near the Florida area. So a lot more regions run this type of car, straight rail car, and then this is a NASCAR legal late model stock. In this video, I'm going to head over to Hickory Motor Speedway and grab a set of new wheels for the late model. So I'm kind of going to be talking about these things as we go do that. Now, yes, I just showed you two different types of race cars, and there's a lot of different types of grassroots racing out there. But for the sake of this video, we are only going to discuss the cost of late model stock racing here in the Southeast. For the main reason of I do that every single weekend. I have the most knowledge on that. And if you're new to this channel, that's what we do here on this channel. A lot of race day vlogs, shop videos, that type of thing. So information wise, we're gonna break this video into three segments. One, race day expenses. Two, cost of operation. And three, initial startup costs. When talking about race day expenses, it's gonna vary depending on the team. So some teams are gonna spend a lot more than other teams. I'm just gonna give you my personal experience and what we spend to do it borderline bare minimum. Actually, I would say bare minimum versus the other teams that we're racing against, being that, you know, we're doing it ourselves and it is an expensive sport, and you're gonna see that in this video. So race day expenses, every single Saturday at Hickory Motor Speedway, South Boston Speedway, any local track that's racing late model stocks, majority of the time is going to be 4 new tires. Now, right now we are in a tire shortage, raw materials shortage, so there's some different variables there, and some tracks aren't getting a full tire allotment, but usually on any given Saturday night you're buying 4 new Hoosier F45 tires. Now, some places may run an American Racer tire or a Mercury tire, but majority of people run Hoosier F45s. The cost of an F45 Hoosier set has went up this year. Originally, back in 15 and 16, whenever I was racing, we were looking at, you know, $600 a set, right? Well, now with inflation, we are looking at roughly $800 a set, $768, $786, somewhere around in there, after labor, mountain, and all that stuff that they charge you at the track. So right there, you've got $800 just in one set of tires. Most teams, if there wasn't a tire shortage, would buy an extra set of tires for practice, maybe 2 extra sets with their race set, 2, possibly 3 sets of tires at $800 a pop. So that's $1,600, $2,400 right there. Let's just go with 2 sets of tires for a given team on our local Saturday night show. So that's $1,600. Now, me personally, I only buy 1 set of tires. I've always only bought 1 set of tires, only because that's the budget we've got. If I had the money to and I could afford it, yes, maybe I would spend more money on tires, but, you know, given the fact of the matter is we practice on used stuff and we race on our 4 stickers, and that's the only 4 stickers we can afford. So we've got tires out of the way. Now we're gonna move on to fuel. Most tracks require you to buy minimum of 10 gallons if you're a late model stock driver. Now, limited late model support divisions are lower, but a late model stock driver is required to buy 10 gallons. So back in the day, 10 gallons of fuel was roughly $9 a gallon. You're looking at $90. Now, fuels went up. It's roughly $111 to $120 a race weekend minimum. Now, sometimes you have to buy more than 10 gallons just because you need it for practice and all those other things. So usually it's 1 week 10 gallons, the next week 15, something like that. So let's just say $150 for fuel. And then your third major expense for your race day expenses are going to be your sign-in. Obviously, I pay for all my guys to get in the pits. You're looking at 5 to 8 guys that you're paying for at the gate. It used to be $25 a person, $35 without a NASCAR license, $25 with a NASCAR license. Now, this is just Hickory Motor Speedway. Some tracks may vary. Now it is $45 a person, $35 with a NASCAR license, $45 without. So let's just say roughly 7 people on average is what I pay every week. A few of them have the $35 license, but majority are 45. Some weeks I may pay more, some weeks I may pay less as far as getting people in. So 45 times 7, that's $315. So you're looking at $315 right there at sign in, $150 in fuel, and $800 for your set of tires. Just with those 3 expenses alone, you're already tallying $1,265. $1,265, that's bare minimum. Now, if you want to do early morning practice at Hickory, they give you a 3-hour practice window in the morning from 10 to 1. You're looking at an extra $100 on top of that. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to say you're not doing that. So you're looking at $1,265. Now, what are we racing for? Purse at Hickory right now, if you win one of the twin races, is $625. It pays $100 to start each twin. If you win both twins that night and sweep the weekend, you're looking at $1,250. I don't know if you guys remember my previous number, but $1,265 is your bare minimum on what you're spending. So yeah, you don't even make money if you win both races. Now, if we're looking at it in terms of a cost to run a full season, Hickory has 17 weeks. And if you multiply 17 times $1,265, you're looking at roughly $21,000 to run an entire late model stock season at Hickory Motor Speedway. I just got to Hickory. I'm running here in the office, pay for my wheels, and then go down here and pick them up in the infield. I mean, I'm telling you guys, you also have to keep in mind that we are spending the bare minimum possible to do the late model stock deal. That's not counting these teams that are coming in and buying multiple sets of tires, if possible, if given the opportunity to, and also spending all the money on cost of operations. So that's going to lead me into my next topic. Cost of operation. Now, this is going to be your everyday maintenance on your race car, things that you might not think about would cost that do add up. When you tear up a race car, you know, putting a new fender on it is $250, right? Your everyday maintenance on your motor, you have to change the oil every couple of races. You know, that's a couple $100 between a filter and the oil. You've got to change ratchet springs in the rear end. That's several $100. You got to change valve springs in the motor probably at least once a year if you're being safe. A lot of people change them 3-4 times a year, depending on how many laps are on the motor. You know, that's hundreds of dollars. So all of these things add up that are expenses you normally wouldn't calculate, but they're there and they cost money. You know, those are going to be in the thousands realistically for an entire season, especially if you don't have any help from product deals and things like that. So I'm not going to go into it too much, other than you're probably looking at $5,000 minimum in just maintenance. Actually more than that, probably. I would say $5,000 to $10,000 in just maintenance, but we're gonna say, let's say $6,500 in maintenance in general on your car throughout the entire season. All of these factors that I've just mentioned, all of these numbers, these costs, this is all if you own or operate your own race car, right? Your own race team. So if you were to come through, or you see a driver that is driving for someone else that may have money, majority of times at the late model stock level they do, or the grassroots level, if they're not driving their own equipment, they are paying someone else to drive their equipment. How much does that cost? Well, if you thought the original number was a lot, wait till you hear this. If you are going to rent a late model stock car, a good high dollar team with a stacker, nice equipment, you're looking at anywhere between $8,000 and $15,000 a race, per race for a late model stock. So that's just one given weekly Saturday night show, anywhere between $8,000 and $15,000. As far as a full season of late model stock competition goes, with racetrack expense, operating cost, and maintenance costs all included, if I were doing it comfortably, I think a $50,000 sponsor would do absolute wonders for me. Obviously, I don't have that much sponsorship this year, but we're making things happen with what we've got. Now, if you have a little bit of buffer, you can do extra things. You can improve your equipment and stuff like that. So $50,000 is roughly, I think, a target goal for what it would cost and to be comfortable racing your own late model stock, depending on how many times you race. So the last topic I want to talk about is initial startup costs. So basically this would just be if you did not have a race car, didn't have a motor, wanted to buy one today or assemble one and go to the racetrack. Now let's just assume you already have a truck and trailer to haul it with, you already have a shop to keep it in. So we're not going to talk about those expenses. But if you were just to buy a race car, whether it be a bare chassis or a chassis already assembled, you're looking at anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 finished and ready to roll out the door, ready to race. So that's including motor, seat, transmission, everything in it. It's going to depend on how much you can assemble yourself. How much work can you do in the shop to prevent from paying someone else to do that work? $50,000 being on the end of buying all new parts, assembling everything yourself. And then a motor is going to run you a Harrington Enforcer engine, which is what we run in the late model stock car. That's going to run you anywhere from $14,000 to $18,000 roughly. So you're looking at $40,000 to $50,000 on a car, $14,000 to $18,000 on a Harrington Enforcer. If you buy a race car from, say, an RNS or a Hedgecock or a PRW, straight from their facility, ready to rock and roll, rolling out as a roller minus motor, seat, and transmission, you're probably going to look at around $100,000 set up, ready to go to your door. As you can see, racing is very expensive, asphalt racing, especially at the local level, given the fact that we're not racing for a whole lot of money usually. Actually, asphalt racing in general is expensive. Dirt racing, on the other hand, I'm starting to find out you race for a lot more money and it costs a lot less to do it. So, hell, maybe I need to get into dirt racing a little bit. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. Hopefully this was informative. I've been asked to do this video a lot. I'm in the process of working on my pit cart, so I'm going to have another video coming out for you guys on that as far as the restoration goes for it. But we have a few off weeks here before we race again at Hickory. Not this weekend, but next weekend we'll be back. Thank you guys for all the continued support of this channel, man. It's growing. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, check out channel memberships down below. You can hit join, support what we do here at Huffman Racing. Every little bit helps. All the money made from memberships goes straight back into our program, and we got some cool little perks and things like that on there as well. So check that out. Again, thank you. Have a good morning, evening, night whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.